Good morning. Got my little cup here. Actually got this from Disney, from one of the hospital visits that I did, and that was a cute little gift. It's probably in reverse, but it says, "This is madness." I am home in Australia, and I am really struggling to sleep at reasonable times because of the time difference, but I thought I'd pop myself down into the studio and start doing some work on my new droid, but then I realized all my glue and everything is in threepio's box. So I just thought I would do like a unboxing video because I wanted to, one, get my bits out, but two, check to see if anything got damaged, because I don't know if you can see from there, let me just get the camera, the box actually took quite a beating. I don't know how they managed to put this big massive scratch. It probably fell off a cart or something, but you know, I think that was $700 well spent to keep threepio safe, even though he did get damaged in transit from Honolulu to San Diego, but I was able to fix it all before I went into the show. Yeah, there was a lot of foam stuffed in here, as well as clothes, because I need to make some room in my bags. But all in all, like it was sufficient enough to keep him safe. And it was a bit of a mission to figure out how to actually pack everything. So basically what I did is, like you can see here, I've got the main torso kind of a bit on an angle, and then I've got a leg here and a leg on this side, and then the arms I managed to just like kind of slip in, which took me quite a while to figure out how I was actually going to package this up so that he would remain safe. But despite the size of this box, it's barely just big enough to fit threepio in, particularly around the neck ring of the droid, because I have some wire details, like on the naked threepio, he's got wires that sort of sprout out of his neck ring. And on my droid, basically what I did was get some wire, like little inline connector things. And I did trim them down a touch before I went to America, just because they were catching on my neck and stuff, and so I wanted to make them a little bit shorter. But because of those little wires, they kind of touch the plastic. So a couple of them got bent, and I'm worried that the more they get bent and the more I try to straighten them, they're eventually going to snap off. But they look, you know, movie accurate, which is great. But yeah, like, so, you know, there was only really a few little minor breakages here and there, which is actually really good. I think because I had all of these like signs and notices, I thought if the TSA opens this up, I want them to know what's in here. So I've got photos of the droid and like a little message for the TSA, because they can be quite brutal, and they will happily just go through anyone's shit to you know, rifle through to see what's inside. So here's all my tools and my glue and all my stuff that I took with me, so I'll get that out. I'll be needing them throughout the day. It was actually very lucky that I was able to take some tools and stuff with me, because the repairs that I had to do were quite extensive. On the shins of threepio, one of the shins got cracked in like multiple places. I don't really know how it happened, but thankfully I had all of my stuff with me, so I was able to fix it up. But, ooh, oops, spilling coffee everywhere. So yeah, I'm just gonna start pulling all of this out. There's a lot of foam blocks, you know, to try and keep everything safe. but it doesn't look like the torso is quite good in the sense because of the wires around the belly area has a bit of flex, but the hips are actually connected permanently to the backpack section. So it would be really great if they weren't. The original droid that I built, the original costume, it was two separate parts. The hips were connected to the wires for the legs, but that was one of the major overhauls I did to the droid, was actually to make the hips and torso sections connected and then have magnetically attached wires and hips for the legs so that they were separate parts, which actually is so much better and it looks so much more accurate. But however, now I need a box that's big enough to transport the entire torso. but it's actually very, very good and much easier to put on and take off, etc., etc. So here's the legs. Now, one leg did get broken, not in transit. I actually broke it myself, but it was really fragile anyway. So when I did the shoot up on the Gold Coast, the director, he wanted, because I was wearing the 3PO but with the other dress up parts to make it a different droid, underneath I had 3PO. So they wanted me to be on the floor after I got shot and killed, and so which was fine. I was actually able, I had a couple of people kind of lie me down, which was no problems at all. Like the costume is strong enough for me to be lying on the floor. What happened was when they lifted me back up, what they should have done is they should have had a couple more people help to take the complete weight of my body so that I could just, you know, pivot from my feet and stay like completely vertical. But what ended up happening is I bent my knees, and the pressure of me bending my legs actually sheared both knees off right there, and it made me realize that that's quite a weak point in this costume. Although generally speaking, there's not a lot of pressure putting on that when I'm standing up. It's only if I really try and bend my knees too much, and there's only so much that the magnets and all the wires and elastics and things that are connected on the back can tolerate before pressure starts getting put on that joint. And one of the things that I intended on doing, which never ran out of time and never ended up getting done, was to actually put a metal rod down that vertical shank in the shin. And it looks like on one of the legs I actually did it. Oh, do you know what? I did it on both legs, but I didn't run it up high enough into the T-bar section. And that's actually interesting because I knew I'd done that, but it still sheared off. This one has fiberglass. I think the other one doesn't have fiberglass for some reason. I don't know why I would do that, but I'm just gonna have a quick look. So I did actually glue this back together while I was in America, but you can see how it's flexing, and you can see all that white part in that joint just there. So it actually, yeah, do you know what? I did put a twist of wire. It's really difficult to see. There's actually a twist of wire and glue, like resin glue, like all inside there. But I didn't reinforce the part that it actually connects to, that goes across there. So looks like I was smart enough to actually fix that, but I didn't fix it properly. Not to worry, the droid is still practically intact. Everything's just fine as it is. But yeah, it's a complicated design, this droid, because there's a lot of moving parts, you know, especially like all the wires inside the legs. This took me a really long time to figure out. It probably took about 2 years after having the droid originally made to figure out how I was going to attach. I don't know if you can see, but I've actually got the wires for the thighs. They terminate onto like a bit of a T-bar thing, and then there's elastics that run down to the center point of the knee disc, which allows it to kind of articulate without actually having to be nuts and bolts, you know, it's just stretchy. But what's happened over the last few years since I've redesigned this is the elastic is becoming a little bit sort of slack, and I'm not quite sure if it's going to have to be repaired, but at the moment it's actually all right. So anyway, but that's the leg. So that's the only major piece of damage that I have to repair now for this droid. But all in all, he managed to stay relatively safe. So that's all good. Maybe I'll just keep all this phone in here. Now I'm going to find somewhere to keep this massive box when I'm not using it, which is a real pain. But thankfully, I managed to keep threepio alive, safe and sound, and he didn't get destroyed. So anyway, by the way, this is a part of the award, my costume, the Shauna Tripsick award that I got for best sci-fi costume. This is part of the prize pack. It's a really, really beautiful jumper, which I quite like, and it matches my trophy as well. It's Aviation National? No, I can't remember the name. It's a American Aviation or something it's called. Anyway, it's really cool. They gave me a whole heap of really cool stuff. But anyway, so I just thought I'd give you a little expose on how I transported threepio in this massive 16 kilo box. Way too heavy to be transporting around. Thankfully I have staff travel, so I was able to travel, and that box got loaded on for free. But when I did fly with Hawaiian Airlines, they charged me $145 to put that on as excess weight or oversized baggage. So anyway, I was very fortunate, but that's why I've had to come home. I was going to go to Europe, but there's no way I was traveling with this to Europe as well, because it's just costing me way, way too much money. Anyway, well, that's it. I'm going to keep working on my new droid legs. I don't know if I've told you what that droid is. I'll tell you about it when it's nearing completion. Here's a hint. That's all I'm going to show you. Anyway, I gotta go. Nice to see everyone at the con, and I can't wait to see everyone again at the next con, which I think it's going to be Adelaide, because I want to go and meet Anthony Daniels himself. This is madness. Bye, everyone.